Okay, hello everyone. I am setting up my bag here to do some more Tour 10 here. And let me just think about this real quick. Forget the bag that I had yesterday. I think that's it. I think this is the bag. Aside from the driver, one of the things that I do want to mention, I used rock yesterday. I don't know if you caught my content. I updated it. It has kind of rock in the title. It's in the Tour 10 streams, same as this is going to go. I'm going to switch to Thor's hammer for guys to be able to use that. Now, even if you don't have a Thor 6, I do want to mention that, a 4, well, technically a 3, 3, 4, 5 will all suffice. Obviously, 4 and 5 are going to be probably the ones that you want to have. I'm not going to, so you can see my top spin's probably a little bit higher out of 6. Out of 5, I believe it's maybe 67, so I might have maybe 15, 18 more. Backspin is at 70-ish, so probably have about 25 extra backspin. So I'm going to try to omit those type of shots, just so you guys know, just so you guys can still get it out to the same spot. In terms of power, accuracy, curl, you're all going to have the same number, especially if you're at a Thor 5. But notice I probably have a little bit more ball guide. So I want you to kind of use that to your advantage, that you'll be able to see some of my ball guide and maybe just try to remember and replicate my spins on some of the shootouts if I get to them, to where you could just kind of replicate my spin and just kind of, have an idea of what the guide was going to do or what it's going to do for your shot, even though yours doesn't necessarily have it. So I did want to just briefly touch on that so you guys are fully aware of that before jumping into things here. And let's go straight over. And we are going to jump right into some Tour 10. So Juniper Point, and that makes me happy to see. Get some of the new Juniper holes in my shootouts. This is the new redesigned Juniper. I do believe that I got this win the other day with rock. I think we got a downwind. I mentioned that, I would typically maybe lay up and just kind of bump rough it up to a sniper distance for this hole. But we did get a pretty decent wind to where it was downwind. So I was able to go for more of like a side spin shot and just kind of full ball power it and get it way down there. This is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have to play a little bit more conservative, do more of the bunker bounce shot. So that's what we're going to do here, is we're going to, just like as you're seeing my opponent do here, that was just a little too aggressive. Not necessarily the end of the world. It's going to be dependent upon the wind for that guy for his next shot. I usually go at this tour with a katana, so, and like I mentioned, I'm going to try to stick to a POC 5 spin here, just so you can, or not a POC 5, Thor 5 spin, and, if this is my target, I'm going to go at least an additional bullseye past that, so right about at max power. I might just go into one ring, maybe about here, just to really just kind of get the ball traveling past the tree. And you can see I'm leaving it well short. It almost plays one per ring. Notice how I keep a good side spin ball on. That's going to make the albatross opportunity that much more likely. Although we don't know what the wind's going to be. Ooh, you got a little tree action there. The best way to get out of this dilemma is to aim over to the left like you see him doing now. Definitely full top spin, keep going. So you definitely wanted to give that full there. Let's see how this plays out. With a little bit more You can get it to the green there and kind of get out of trouble if you have an errant tee shot. So here you can see I'm more at max distance. This is very similar if you saw my tournament as to, if you saw me play this in the tournament, I'm going to play this very similarly. You can see I'm right at max here, so I'm going to make sure that I go at least 9 rings here. So there's 5, and notice I didn't use the shot button this time. If you were watching my other stream. And let's see what I can do here. You don't need to use the shot button to be precise. You just need to, focus on that spot. I will try my best to maybe use the shot button a little bit more for guys. I do feel confident that that was probably pretty spot on, very close to 9 rings. Since I was into power, maybe I should have given it just a little bit more. Notice how I did at the beginning of that setup. I left it a little bit long and a little bit to the right before I even adjusted rings. That's because I knew it was going to come in a little bit more. So here, since I am in control of this, as long as this guy doesn't forfeit out, I'm just going to, just tap this off, and we're going to go to the shootout. So here we go, we're going to get to a shootout. Hopefully we get one of the new holes that we can get kind of a extra look. And I can start to add some of those to my shootout portfolio here. And it is one of the new holes. So I am glad that we're going to get to do this. And let's see what we got for the wind. So it's downwind here. And especially since we're towards min club here, we are going to kind of proceed as, kind of like this, and you can kind of see with what's going to happen with the shot trail there. I'm leaving it just a little bit short. We do have min club to worry about. I'm just trying to anticipate how much to go here, and I'm thinking right around 4 rings, maybe just a little bit shy. It is just a little bit of an estimation here. You do want to try to concentrate on perfect ball here. Let's see what this does. That looks pretty good. It does look like it's coming in just a tiny bit hot though, but overall none too bad. You can see I did not work too hard to get that shot to be pulled off. So let's say that was four-ish rings there. That was probably what, 2 1/4 per ring is what I was playing, which is very close to a min distance adjustment. If max club is 1.7, that means mid club is more of 2.0, and min club is going to be kind of 2 1/4. So he did, I don't know if he meant to do that, add power. You do want to be a little careful if you are doing that. So, hopefully, you can get a little precise with the way that you're, lining up to do those. And I will definitely add that to my Tour 10 Shootout portfolio. I will try to remember to splice that out of there. And we'll go from there. So let me see. Everything looks good. I don't really want to recycle too many chests there. Let's just keep going with Tour 10 here. I'll give you guys at least maybe 5 or 6 holes at least. We'll see how it goes. This is going to be the par 5 that we kept getting a couple times last time. No way of knowing the way that you're going to get a wind. We can kind of base our decision on what we do based on kind of what this guy does as well. One of the things that you do want to be careful of on this new hole is definitely, precision. If you are going to be bombing it up to that second fairway, it is very easy to hit the ball off the cliff. So definitely something to keep in mind. Aside from that, we're probably going to be laying up here. Your best bet to laying up is either a Titan or a Katana. Give yourself the best possible way to, still get it up there close to the hole for a eagle pitch. And the reason that you might use a Katana is more for the shootout, having that side spin luxury. So we are going to follow suit here and probably play pretty similarly. Let's just say we had a Thor 5, for example. I would need to land it at least right here with a Titan, so it's not going to be possible. You would maybe be able to get a Berserker there, but let's just assume, you need to lay up. So I haven't laid up yet, so this could be maybe a good time to talk about the layup shot as well. So I'll go about 5 rings for that adjustment there, and there you see perfect ball. Let's see how this runs out. And not too bad. You can see I'm down here somewhat aggressively, and like I said, you might want to bring a Titan. The best reason, you never know what your second wind is going to be, and I could really blast it down there if they gave me a good one, which they didn't. But let's just say hypothetically they did, or if that wind was just an angled wind, I could get way down there. But being in the face as much as it is, this is not going to be any cupcake. I'm assuming with the Katana, this guy's going to have a lot of trouble. Let's see what happens. Let's see. He did get it. Let's see if he holds. Nope. So as you can see, even with wind in the face, you can still get it way down here for the chance at a pitching wedge. So that's more or less, what we're going to try to do. I'm going to take a little bit more aggressive line than he did, a little bit more in this fashion. If I can make this my landing zone, that's going to be kind of my desired path, maybe with just a little bit of curl like this. Let's see if I curled that back enough to the left to keep it out of the rough. Just enough. So it is going to be a very touchy pitch from there. I do have to let you know, it would technically be better to probably have rapier for that pitch, but I'm not much of a rapier guy, so for a couple pitches, I'm definitely not going to put rapier in my bag. But if I if I was playing a tournament or something and I knew that it was into the wind and I was going to have a pitch, I'd probably put on rapier here, just to give me that backdoor option, just in case I need it. So let's see what we have. Shoot. So we are kind of close. That's close to max club there. This is going to be a very touchy pitch, almost impossible to make, to be honest with you. I'd like to just kind of groove it onto a flat spot, but it's almost impossible to do. Let me see if I can't do it like this, possibly. Maybe somewhere in here. Maybe 11, 12 rings is what I'm trying to go. It's not quite max club. Let's just see. Yeah, you can see it's just, where I was landing it was right on the top of a ridge. You'd have to hit that ridge just perfect, and it's just too super hard to do. It would have probably been better if I tried to land it on the green and maybe spin it the other direction. But then you have that other ridge to deal with. So, it was going to be a very tough shot. Ideally, going for the dunk there. I was half tempted to do that, but at a max distance dunk, it can be a little bit of a tough It's tougher to make that max distance end bringer as opposed to if it switched up to long iron. So I did check that out as a first option. Had it switched to a long iron or to a short iron, it would be a much more makeable, manageable shot with my short iron, because it wouldn't go nearly as high and it would just cut through the wind, and you could, you know, a lot easier make it than at full max distance. So, but you know, no harm, no foul. I was trying to get to a shootout anyway, so no big deal. But at the same time, you know, I do want to show you guys some shots and give you some opportunities to make some things too. So we talked about this hole briefly the other day, and I told you maybe 3.5 is kind of my you know, preferred, maybe landing right around the fringe somewhere in here. I am going to try to use the shot button here for, I also said that I use about 20% extra wind, so here you're going to see me use 7 rings, almost pretty spot on here for my adjustment. So 7 rings, perfect ball. Let's see what this looks like. Didn't quite hit the fringe. Hopefully it holds. Oh yeah, it'll hold. If I hit the lip out, it'll hold. So you can see my adjustment there was relatively spot on. Just a micro adjustment too little. And like I said, you know, that's about 20% extra wind spot on. So 20% extra would have been right around 14 miles per hour, and at 2 per with a Goliath, it's very, very close to 7 ring adjustment at 2 per ring. And just be sure that you are, you know, doing the max club adjustment as opposed to using, you know, trying to say, oh, I'm at mid club. No, you're shooting to a downhill target. And like I said, you know, for simplifying wind play, you know, I pretty much almost always play max club adjustments on shootouts. That basically just simplifies the shootout. So it's pretty much the way that I always do them, and it'll give you guys basically, you know, the optimal way of potentially making it. So let's see if I can't grab somebody else here real quick, and there we go. And this is one of the Cliff par 5s. Okay, this is I believe one of the newer ones. Yep, thought it was this one. And here you're seeing wind straight in the face. That can be kind of as challenging as it gets here. So let's see this guy go. All right, I did step out real quick temporarily, but I am back, and we're just going to kind of size this up a little bit. Now, one of the things that I do is I usually try to get it kind of in this fairway, kind of halfway, and you can see me just kind of playing the run out kind of like that. And in addition to this as my target line, I'm going to need to go at least 9 rings, I would imagine. Very close to 9. Maybe a little bit into power here. There you go, perfect ball. And I do like to use quasars here when I'm in, what's the other tour? Tour 8. But especially with that wind that's straight into the face, I wanted to make sure that you know, I'm giving myself enough power to get to the hole for the second approach. And here you are seeing they're giving me pretty much, this is as bad as it gets. This is straight in the face, straight in the face. You guys, that's just too much to have to deal with. So This is pretty much as hard as you can get for a setup for this. Anything else would be, way more manageable. As you can see, not to mention I'm way back here. So that's going to make things even worse. I usually do this with side spin and some back spin. Here you're going to see me cut off of that, but I am going to still use some of it. And you'll probably see me go relatively full here as well. So let's just try this. See what this looks like. Did just catch the rough, and that's one of the reasons that I don't crank it up, is because I didn't want to, keep myself in that rough if I did just clip it. I did put a little bit of hook on there, and you could see from that pitch, it's not the end of the world. And isn't that ironic? Another third wind straight in the face. This is just kind of a brutal setup. It's best to just kind of get through this hole the best you can, and maybe 40-50% of the time you might actually win this one with eagle, to be honest with you, because that's about as hard as a wind as you can get. So let me just show you kind of the way that I would do this. Of course, if you want to go for the pitch, it can be just a little glitchy. So you're going to see me just play the edge of the cup, and we are plenty close enough that playing the edge of the cup will give you a essentially centered when you actually hit it. So that's kind of the way that I tend to go for that one. Let's just keep going here. Try to get to another hole. You can see for the most part, the driver isn't going to, I mean, let's think. So we've played 3 holes so far, right? And not a single one the driver was going to make or break my round. One I had to lay up. That one I had to, barely hit it. I didn't even add power. So, keeping these factors in mind, you guys will see. One of the things I can do here is I can lay up. I'm half tempted not to. I'd really like to see kind of how this plays out. This is just one top spin. I'm going to play about a bullseye's target. So I'm playing kind of off the white as my target line with some curl. And let's just see what this looks like. Just basically, forcing the issue about, oh, not quite. I wanted to just see if I could get it up there, to be honest with you. I'd rather just try some things out. I'm not really interested in laying up too much. I mean, you could get straight downwind and basically get to the green in 2 if you lay up, and if you lay up successfully as well. You might have to do kind of both of those factors, but I haven't played this too much. I haven't played Tour 10 at all, so the exposure that I have to this hole is very, very limited. I think I saw it a couple in, what was the other tour? Tour 7, but I haven't seen too much of this hole at all. So, and there you see a little bit better effort than me. It's always better if you are going to pound it down there like you did, that you try to get where that guy did, which is making your second shot hit the fairway as opposed to playing it more conservative like I did, just as kind of a bailout to kind of get up to the green. But even doing that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do anything that's going to get you up to the green. And you see what I'm kind of doing there? That was about 8 or 9 rings, plus I just kind of countered it with a little bit of curl, just to kind of get it shooting straight up the fairway as opposed to veering off left. And especially this guy with Malibu, he's not going to be able to use any topspin. He's he's not even really going to get the ball too much farther than me. So, but had you use Spitfire, for example, and that's one of the biggest reasons that I do use Spitfire, is it can get you out of trouble like this. And 9 out of 10 times you can at least get it to the fringe if you execute very well. And here you see he's giving up 40-ish yards. And there you see min club. I'm very close to min club, so you're probably just going to see me go for it since we have a straight wind. I'm going to play about 2.5 per ring. Min club itself is 3.0 per ring, but since I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit farther, I'm going to play right around 4 rings here. Let's just see what this looks like. Just short. And no matter where it goes, I really don't care. For the most part, there's no way that that ball could get affected enough that it would roll off the green or something, or even if it did, it would be on the fringe, so it would be okay. So here we go, another shootout here. Hopefully we can draw out one of the new ones again. And here we go. I have no versions of this. So this is definitely a big reason that you would want to have Thor's hammer, no question, would be for this hole. If this guy tries to go off of this island with sniper, especially into as much power as he's going to have to do, could be a little bit of a challenging shot. Let's see what he does. I usually go, it's not too bad. You can see that you would really have to play kingmakers exclusively for wins like this to actually go at the hole this way. But there you see he's just coming up short. I'm also going to go for that shot, so don't rule yourself out yet, guy. So I hope you don't forfeit out. So let me just pull it over here so he can see that I'm going to go for it too. So it's an 8.2 wind. One of the things that I do want to mention is, don't really use your ball guide too much. I do believe that I usually go, kind of right in here for the for my landing zone. Let's see if I can pull this off. So there's right around 5, a little bit over. I'm going to go at least to 10 rings for this wind. So that's one of the easiest mistakes to make. You go into power and you don't add enough rings. I did not want that great ball, but it shouldn't be the end of the world. You can see I'm much more centered than that guy was, and you can see it also shoots over towards the hole. So, don't believe everything you see on the ball guide. It tends to jerk a little bit more left than it shows. So that's the biggest tip I can give you guys for that. And also keep in mind, if you're into power, that you need to go additional rings for that hole. So definitely keep all those factors in mind. And that's one of the biggest reasons that you might want to play this tour with some of your best balls. 10 and 11 are the serious tours where you should be smart about your ball selection. Not entirely essential that you have the balls, especially once you get a lot of experience. But early on, it's going to make your life a lot easier if you have those balls, and can take advantage of the extra side spin, the extra wind resistance, power. All those factors are really going to contribute to Tour 10 and 11 success, especially early on for you. For example, if your opponent uses a Quasar and you have a Kingmaker on the Shootout and you have 3 or 4 miles per hour on them, you're going to be looking pretty sweet. So just something to consider. And notice how much wind we got here. One of the things that I do want to mention, especially downwind like this, we are just going to go with a katana here. I just want to mention that you're trying to visualize maybe, for example, 11 or 10 rings down, because it is going to play very close to 1 per ring. So I can almost leave this fairway here, and I just want you guys to be aware of that. So I might just take off of this shot just a little bit. Notice how I'm curling it as well. But you do want to be a little cautious on this downhill shot. And notice how I'm not even using topspin at all. So let's see if I used enough to stop the ball. It looks like I did. I didn't even use topspin there. I think I used just straight side spin. And it was more just because the fairway's angled and I was just trying to counter it. Of course, had I gone over to where my opponent did, it also leaves for an easy shot. But if you don't know what the second wind is going to be, my shot, what I just did, could make it a little bit easier. There's certain winds, especially how this one's angled kind of down and to the left. This shot is going to be a little bit more challenging. It would be a little bit easier considering that I have a claw and I could just play the downslope. But I just kind of wanted to go over here because this is going to be, for all intents and purposes, unless you get a real blast at wind, you're just going to be playing from over here anyway. You only really want to go for that shot over there is if you can really blast it down there. But let's not exactly, take me out of this shot yet, because it is going to still be, very makeable. So there's no way of saying, for sure that I'm not going to get it. So here you're just going to see me set up a little bit more on the hill like this and kind of use the slope. And maybe 2 1/4 is going to be my ring play because I'm kind of at mid club. So let me go 5 rings here. Let's try that. It's coming in a little hot, I think. It's good aim though. It's really good aim. Just coming in a little bit hot, but it did slow down because I had all that backspin. You can see you're going to be able to really hone in on that hole. Notice how I used some right spin and I also used a lot of backspin. The right spin is just kind of kill it into the hill, and also because the wind was right to left. So you just got to kind of visualize and just think about how the ball is going to shoot and project forward and to the left, and always factor that in to your shot. And that's what I was doing with that right spin, and also setting up to the right of the hole because I knew it was going to shoot forward and to the left. So here we're getting this hole again. Let's see if they can give us another wind. Be nice. And sure enough, they did. So here I'm going to kind of up my backspin a little bit. I usually use, I might use 4 or 5. I might usually use, what did I use last time, like 3? Now I'm cranking it up to like a 5. And notice what I'm doing with the shot trail. And aside from that, I'm probably going to play 10-ish rings, maybe. So here we're going to do, since we're pulling down towards min club, we're going to pull not extra rings, we're going to take off because it's more of a min club adjustment. And let's see if I can't get it to check up. Oh, I hit the hole anyway. So. So there is kind of, this hole in a nutshell. Everything you see off the ball guide, just basically throw it out the window. It's going to always bounce a little bit more left no matter what it shows, whether the wind's pointed right, whether the wind's pointed left. Now, I don't know why that's exactly the case. I don't know if it's a mistake with the way that they have the ball trail showing. I don't really understand why it does that off of that side slope. But it's just the way it is. You just have to learn to accept it. So what you saw me do is just kind of counter it. I don't know if you guys checked my side spin out, but I know I had at least 2 or 3. So 5 o'clock. Not sure how many holes I've done. I've done at least 5. I'll do a couple more. Juniper 1, eh? This is going to be the new bendy hole. So, a couple ways to do this one. I don't really like doing this with Thor's hammer. I'll usually go for a hook shot when I have to go with Thor. So here you see me using katana. I'm trying to take off a little bit of distance. I just wanted to kind of hit that open part of the fairway up there, kind of right in here. I'm kind of, it's about 2 full bullseyes to do that. Notice how I'm not really using a lot of top spin, but I am using, side spin, and here's some curl. To be honest with you, this is still going to be pretty close, I think, to the edge of the fairway. No, not too bad. See if I can't get it to get off the green. Not bad. So you can see, sometimes I do especially on those hook shots, it's nice to really have a pock for that hole, and I wouldn't have had to do that full hook, which that would be my preferred method to do this hole. But notice how I didn't need a lot of top spin when it's way downwind like this. So you can see this guy cranking his up there, he's taking it off. I mean, that's the best advice that I can give, is just to kind of shot copy mine, do virtually my same spin. The only thing I would maybe suggest would be a quasar ball instead of my katana that I used. When you do it this method, it's not going to curl as much. You can wind up in the bunker. So it's going to be much harder. One of the things that he might be doing, since he's not going full power, is he might just be leaving it short in the fairway. Oh, it just rolled on. And that makes for a brutal putt, but you can still reach the hole, but you just can't see where the ball's going. So it can still be holed. Just want to point that out for you guys in case you wind up there. So there's half club right there. We're going to be more of quarter club. So a quarter club, you're only going to need to go right around 2 rings, which means basically just keep it inside the hole and you'll be good. So I'm going to put it right on the edge, and that should be plenty good. Great ball, not going to be the end of the world. Well, I didn't think so, but it is going to be the end of the world. Jeez, can't believe I missed that. Now, as long as we can still get double eye off, that's all I care about. I know there's somewhere that you can get that, you can get the hole. There it is. There, he's finally found it. Let's see if he gets it to drop. You can see very tough to, locate the hole and get that one to go. But I'm fine with this because I wanted to go to the playoff. I just wanted to make sure that, that I was trying to make that pitch just in case he, made that putt. My pitch shouldn't have, if it was the old, the old fairway there, or the old green, that would have never missed. It would have never missed. There would have been too much of an upslope for it to miss. So that was just kind of bad break, and my shot missed there. So let's see what this guy can do here. One of the things, especially if you're going to do my shot, which I do highly recommend. Here he goes. Looks like he's going to try to do it. I don't necessarily recommend doing it as low as he's doing it here, but it doesn't mean it can't be done. But like I said, going low like this, in my opinion, isn't the best idea because you can end up rolling it down the hill a lot easier. So let's see what this guy does real quick. Great ball to the right. That might help his calls a little bit. Let's see if it comes back down or stays up there. No, it's staying up there. Oh man, he even got it. With a great ball. So let's see if I can't follow suit. But like I said, you probably want to stay away from that shot a little bit because, like I said, it can be the only time that you get it to roll back down the hill. So it's much better to just kind of side door it like this. That's kind of how you're going to see me try to do it. The only problem about this is you really need to rely on perfect ball to go at it this way. It's going to be very similar to what I said, 2 1/4. This is what I went last time, right around 5 rings, more or less. Perfect ball. And just left it short. So a little unfortunate there, but there you see, just kind of the way things go sometimes. Tour 11, or Tour 10 or whatever. It happens, no big deal. You just kind of roll with it, keep going. Now, like I said, you hit it 2 yards every time. Or, if you hit consistent, you do consistent. 9 out of 10 times it's going to work in your favor. It's all about just honing in and, executing your shots. So, the way I like to do this one is definitely with a side spin ball. When we get a mega wind in the face like this, I won't use a katana. In fact, I don't recommend a katana. Just because you don't know what that second shot's going to yield. And you're going to kind of have to leave yourself a little bit shorter off the tee. So let's go ahead and, I just try to spin it away, kind of like this. And I'm just going to try to, beat it away from the bunker and all that nonsense. Kind of like this. And that's usually how I drive this one. Just try to get it up down here to the left, short of that rough. And that's ideal for me. I definitely don't like going through the trees, but I will go through the trees if I absolutely have to. But the way that you see some of the guys do this up over the trees, in my opinion, it just kind of brings the unnecessary, problem of the trees into play. So why bring them into play if you don't need to? So that's why you see me go to the outside, and I definitely recommend you guys going to the outside. Because the last thing you want to do, especially, is clip the tree. So, just best to, play it safe and go to the outside as opposed to going over them. So that's how we're going to set up to do it. And let me show you kind of the in and outs of how I tend to do this. So I usually use, first off, I try to figure out what I'm going to do in terms of depth. And that looks pretty good. Might just come off of that just a tiny bit, because this is more or less, the trajectory. You don't need to go full curl here, but I am going to, because I like to bring it a little bit more towards the hole. But know that, you can use foam curl just as easily here. And more or less it's going to be the identical shot. But I just like to really project it on over here and just make sure that, I don't like slow rolling it onto the fringe, because I don't like, that off chance that it stays up there and you get a weird side wind. I just think it's a little bit safer to try to kind of cut it towards the hole a little bit more. So that's the way that I tend to play it, is I try to just cut it towards the hole instead of using the slow roll off that hill, to where I'm sure some of you guys have seen the albatross come when it just gently rolls onto the green. I try to bring mine more right at the cup, just to, get the momentum going and make sure that I don't leave it short and potentially, take myself out of the hole accidentally. Here you see we're going to go to another shootout. Tired of the old ones. But same kind of thing is going to apply here. You're going to see me play very similar to what I did last time, right around 3.5. It's going to be my backspin. Going a little bit lower isn't the end of the world when you're into the wind. There you see that guy doing that. It's all going to depend on his land zone. If he lands very close to the rough, he'll be okay. If he lands a little bit short, it's not going to run out. So he is, in my opinion, overplaying this wind. But let's see if he compensates it somehow. There he's landing very close to the edge, and it might roll down. It's very close. Not bad overall. I can't believe. I wonder if this green's redesigned, because that usually doesn't stop 3 yards. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, but more than anything, we should be okay here. I'm just going to play a little bit more cautious. So notice what I'm doing when I spin, 3.5. And we're going to play right onto the front of the green. Nothing fancy here. 20% extra is going to be 9 wind, which is right around 4.5 rings. So going just a little bit more than 4.5 isn't going to be the end of the world. And there you have that one. I'm pretty sure we've killed that hole to death. It's the wrong thor. Let me jump to this one. Alright, sorry I did jump away for 1 second. I am back now. Now, let's talk a little bit about this one. So, definitely, when we get a wind like this, 5.5 is kind of my go-to for the top spin. Really try to force it to get up there. Definitely probably a kingmaker, and definitely an over adjustment. So, at least 4 rings here for my adjustment. So let me push up towards this rough here. That's a little bit over 4 rings. And hopefully, so concentrating on perfect ball is going to be the utmost importance. And there you see me missing it. And it might cost me the hole. So it would have been okay if it rolled through that rough, but it didn't roll through that rough. So perfect ball, would have probably rolled through, or it would have been left enough that I'd be on the fairway. But since I hit a great ball right, that's why this hole specifically, perfect ball timing is paramount. It means everything. So when you play this hole, definitely, whatever you need to do, if you need to slow down a little bit, just focus on the timing because it is so important on this tee shot. So let's see what this guy does. And there you see, that's more or less what mine would have done. Almost to the tee had I, I might not have rolled through the fairway like that, or to the fringe, but it would have been very similar to that. But, especially when you have just a 6 wind, it's not going to be, too much into the wind. You just need to kind of put it on the edge here like this and concentrate on perfect ball. There, I got it. So all should be forgiven. We still get to the playoff. All right, back to this one again. So let's see what I can do here. Oh man, we keep getting the same wins. This is very tiresome. So we keep getting the same. Of course, you have seen kind of my method here. I'm going to do very similar, no real top spin, just some side spin. And we'll try to focus on more or less the same kind of wind adjustment. I feel like this is getting very old though. 2 1/4, 4.5 rings, somewhere in there. So let's try that. Ooh, coming in a little bit hot this time. So not terrible, but not the best shot. Downwind, it's decent. I'm not sure why that ball took off. I'm not sure why that ball took off and the other one didn't. So that I don't really understand. I mean, if you think about it in terms of rings, I really didn't do anything differently on all my shots. So for that one to, play like that is a little unfortunate. But there you have that one. I don't know where we're at time-wise. 5:15. I'm sure I could cut it off, but we can do one more. One more. Juniper 6. Okay, I'm glad we did it. We got one more hole. There's one of the new redesigned ones. Haven't been to this one yet. A couple ways to do this that I do want to point out. The way that I choose to do it typically, wow, is that a fortunate good ball? That looks like it's going right for the opening. Nope, not quite. Looks like he had some curl and side spin on that a little bit. So let me just stick with this ball. It's mostly for the shootouts. A couple different ways that I like to say, that I said I like to play this. One of the ways is just kind of hopping the bunker like this, that you might see me do. And the other way is your more conventional method. And we're going to do it the conventional method this time. I'm going to use more Thor 5 type spin, kind of right in here. And I'm going to use for my aim right around an entire bullseye. Just kind of hold that line. A great ball might cost me. We'll see. I did kind of favor the right side a little bit. Even if it hits the rough, sometimes it comes back. And there you can see it is coming back. So, the new, I'm not sure, you used to be able to bail out to the left, but it does kind of funnel back now. I don't know if that was intentional or part of the redesign, but I've gone all the way up into the rough and funneled back into the fairway. So it's very possible. So that's one of the reasons that you see me side spin it towards the rough, because it's just kind of a safety shot. Staying away from the bunker can be kind of the ideal play. So here we go. You see there's min club right there. So we are pretty tight on min club, which is roughly about 3 per ring. So we might play, for instance, 2.75 maybe per ring. At least go 2.5, 3 rings, so it's going to probably be too much. So I'm just going to kind of shoot up towards right around here. 2 3/4, 2.5, somewhere in that. Perfect ball. You see it catching the edge, and that's one of the reasons that I bring it in with the backspin that I do. So it's coming in very slow, even though the hops are very close to the hole. It still hits the hole with kind of low speed and can still go in. So there you have that one. Hopefully you guys found this stream pretty beneficial. I tried to, like I mentioned, use more of a Thor 4, Thor 5 driver. I really didn't beat the ball very hard a lot. So I just want you to know, let's just think about how often you're actually going to lose a match because of distance. And the answer is very minimal. I mean, there was no time in this entire hour sum where length became an issue. Now, there was one hole where, for example, my Epoch 7, if you guys remember early on, we did get that Juniper Point par 5 straight into the wind. If I had a Epoch 7 or whatever, I could probably beat the guy outright with the Epoch 7, but laying up, we were able to still get to the shootout. Both of us got to the shootout. So, no harm, no foul. And that's going to be the case for most of the time. So you're really not going to need distance. All this talk about, extra mile or whatever, even apocalypse, it's like you really don't need these clubs. What's more crucial, in my opinion, is having that safety net of having that, 60, 70 backspin for a couple of the shootouts. Of course, we didn't get to those, unfortunately, in this video. But, having that safety net for those 2 or 3 backspin par 3s could become crucial in tiebreaker situations in the event that you need a backspin driver. So having that little back spin, plus, Thor having more accuracy than extra mile, could be, the difference between just staying in the rough or just going in the rough and staying in the fairway. So for example, had I hit my identical shot on that last hole with extra mile, with the one ring to the left, it would have rolled into the rough. Now, it might have still rolled out, it might not have, but I wouldn't have gone down as far as I did, and the pitch wouldn't have been as easy as it was. So keep all those factors in mind, guys, and be on the lookout for more of my content to come. Good luck with your Tour 10, and hopefully you guys are, more capable and feel comfortable getting through the holes and getting some of that confidence up, and you feel okay about the shootouts now. So good luck there, and be on the lookout for more of my stuff which is hopefully going to help you guys out as well. So good luck.